You know you can stay in stunning homes across Mount Hood, the coast, Central Oregon, all of our state's beautiful landscapes, and save over 5 to 15% by just going through a local business? Cascadia Getaways is Oregon-owned and operated by locals who love this state as much as you do. Visit CascadiaGetaways.com to book your next trip or partner with their team. That's CascadiaGetaways.com.
You can make a difference in someone's life, including your own, with a job in home care. These jobs offer flexible schedules, healthcare, retirement options, and free training. They also provide paid time off and opportunities for overtime. Visit OregonHomeCareJobs.com to learn more and apply. That's OregonHomeCareJobs.com.
Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the seemingly insurmountable amount of work the new Portland Public Schools Board is facing, the proposed new restrictions some say will shut down our pumpkin patches and end farm-to-table dinners, plus Governor Tina Kotek's new financial strategy for keeping ODOT afloat and avoiding massive layoffs. Joining me on this week's Friday News Roundup are Willamette Week reporter and author Brianna Wheeler and our very own executive producer, John Notarianni. It's Friday, July 25th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Welcome, everyone, to the Friday News Roundup. Brianna, John, thank you for hanging out with me this morning.
Good morning, Claudia. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
For those of you new to the show, today is the day we break down some of the biggest local stories of the week with some of the best and brightest journalists in town. But before we jump into the news, I usually ask an opening question so our listeners can get to know our guests a little better. And today's opening question is related to the fact that Willamette Week, your employer, Brianna, included the show and me in their yearly Best of Portland list.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I was mentioned in the Best People of Portland category, which, question mark, alongside a mathematician modeling volcano eruptions and Damian Lillard.
Justified? It's justified.
So my question to you both, who would be your personal pick or picks for Best People of Portland if it weren't me, Damian, or a mathematician?
This is very specific to the last 12 hours of my life, but I went to a movie at Cinema 21 last night. And outside, there was a guy on the corner with an accordion playing bal musette, traditional French accordion music. That guy's the best.
Okay.
What about you, Brianna?
I am going to reaffirm what I contributed to the Best of Portland issue, which was the Best Tiniest Party, which is thrown by a gentleman named Travis Abels, who has become one of my favorite people in Portland because he's this super engaging storyteller and throws this amazing event in his backyard, which is the tiniest party. And it's very intimate and inclusive, and it's super awesome. You guys should come.
Is it, are we talking 10 people? That tiny?
No, not that tiny. I think, so in his backyard, there may have 35 or 40 people, but he usually throws it in his basement. And yes, in his basement, it'll be 25 people. And it'll be a storyteller telling the most intimate story of their freaking life. And you're like, what am I listening to? Is this a therapy session? Or it's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my pick is, and I don't know if he's already been honored in a Best of Willamette Week list, but if he hasn't been, I would 100% nominate Willie Levinson from the Human Access Project. All of the time and effort he puts into making the Willamette River accessible for all of us. I don't know. I think it's standing ovation worthy. He also literally, I think, solo campaigned to get the city of Portland to join an international coalition of swimmable cities, which further cements our city's promise in keeping the Willamette safe and healthy and swimmable. And he did this, I think, by himself, according to John, because John kept getting texts from him being like, hey.
Willie really is a one-man operation. He makes it happen.
Yeah. He's just hey, we're going to talk about this, right? And I don't know. I find that I'm that guy. That guy is making so many lives better in Portland.
Very that.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you both for your answers. Thank you, Willamette Week, for mentioning us. That was really cool. On to the news of the week. Brianna, you're looking into the newly sworn in members of the Portland Public Schools Board and what that shift in leadership could bring.
Yes.
Lay it on us.
Yes, I am.
When's that happening?
What's happening with the school board? Everybody wants to know. Everybody's talking about it. Julia Silverman at the Oregonian/Oregon Live has reported on the mom takeover of the Portland Public School Board amidst a oncoming storm in their faces. Okay, so check this out. We've got 4 newly elected members of the school board. They're just sworn in this week. Rochelle Chase Miller, Virginia Lafort, Stephanie Engelsman. Those 3 are brand new. Christy Splitt, the 4th, she was appointed in January, and she is replacing board member Andrew Scott. Stepped down for personal reasons. It's none of our business. So all 4 of these new board members are parents of children who attend Portland Public Schools, hence the mom takeover. And that's what they were collectively referred to during Tuesday's swearing-in ceremony at Grant High School. The theme for this school board this year, it feels like this theme is new energy, because even our superintendent, Kimberly Armstrong, she's just barely entering her 2nd year. So nevertheless, these board members will tackle, in no particular order, the 4th year in a row of budget cuts due to combined factors of declining enrollment, rising needs among the remaining student population, escalating labor costs. Number 2, uncertainty over federal support for public education. Then this includes potential legal threats from the Trump administration. Case in point, this month, the federal government filed a lawsuit against the state of California and threatened to withhold billions of dollars in funding over the district's inclusive policies on transgender youth sports, which are very similar to Oregon's. Okay. 3, relocation of the district's headquarters from its current location in the heart of the Albina neighborhood in Northeast Portland to who knows where.
Still? Oh my God,
Right?
it's taken for frickin' ever.
And I personally have something to say about this one, because I have a son who attends Portland Public Schools. He's a special needs program. And so we would have to go to HQ twice a month so that he could attend specialized therapy sessions. And one of our team members looked me in my eyes, told me to my face that there was not enough room in the building to support him. We don't have a room to perform his therapy sessions in right now.
I'm sorry, that headquarters is vacant. So the fact that someone's like, I'm sorry, we don't have the rooms. It's like,
yeah,
all you have is rooms.
that's what I'm saying. She's like, we don't have the room. I'm like, you don't have the what? What?
Exactly.
Seriously, it is mind exploding, especially for parents that are kind of like dealing with those same situations where you kind of relying on these special education pathways, and then, yeah. So that one got me. Ooh, that got me. Okay, so the next one, this new school board is also going to have to deal with the first round of contract negotiations with the Association of Teachers since that gnarly ass strike that closed schools for nearly a month in 2023. All right. Oh, and then check this out. The union recently told its members that it plans to increase its bargaining team from 7 to 48.
Oh my God.
Give it up. Give it up.
We're going in. We're going to make this happen now.
They're just like, was it how many months? We're like, let's take off a whole year.
That's like a few soccer teams worth of people.
Honestly.
Honestly.
They're like, fresh legs, get in here.
Get in here.
Just
what even?
subbing people out.
Seriously.
Okay, sorry, go on. And
then there's also this super ambitious round of school modernization projects, which all the Portland people know. Every school in your neighborhood, you've probably seen it happening. Seismic upgrades, rebuilds at Jefferson, Cleveland, Ida B. Wells, and they each carry north of a $400 million price tag. We were just talking about your budget cuts? Wasn't we just talking about budget cuts?
Yeah.
Okay, now also redrawing attendance boundaries, particularly on the east side, in advance of the renovations at Jefferson, because Jefferson is kind of like the anchor school of Albina neighborhood. I guess parents could have, up until now, chosen, I think, from like 4 different high schools in the area. Miss Kimberly is going to wrap that up. And then also they're going to decide whether or not to consolidate elementary schools. And this is kind of divisive too, because yes, but also consolidating those schools, it will result in better funding. It will result in more enrichment programming. And then also there's like 20 elementary schools with fewer than 300 students. Which is wild.
Stronger together, you guys. Stronger together.
Stronger together. My elementary, I feel like there were thousands of kids at my elementary school.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right?
Nonstop kids. Yeah. Wait, I also want to throw in, just because I was like, when I was looking at what they had to do, not only do they have to do the whole Jefferson and like upgrades and all that, with that money, they also have to find a way to do long deferred maintenance needs at elementary and middle schools.
Right.
So not only do they have to like somehow put all these high schools back online, they're like, also fund the elementary and middle. Sorry. It's just like when I was reading them, I'm like, this is impossible.
Totally impossible.
Okay, so now redrawing attendance boundaries, which by the way, parents are like, boo, boo. So like they have to also come up, up against all these parents that are like, even though that school is 3 miles away, that's where everyone in my family's gone to. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Whatever.
I mean, I see it from both sides, and it's ugh.
Yeah.
The last on this pretty intense list is opening the long-delayed Center for Black Student Excellence. So funding for a location was approved in 2020. In 2020! And here we are 5 years later. 5 years later, no visible progress. So good luck.
Back when we, right before the election in May, we were talking about this, and my take was basically like, I'm really glad I don't have that job. I do not want that job. That does not sound fun. I mean, and like, dear God, it's awesome to have parents, to have people that like really understand the stakes that this stuff poses for students on the school board. But at the same time, like, the legislature at the state level sort of controls the budget. So other than like bonds and taxes, they can't really do much to create more spending. And there's just so many needs, like, the decisions in front of them. They're going to have to either, at best, make some really rough decisions that is going to affect people, and at worst, do nothing. And then we just sort of stay in this. Like, it's just a situation that doesn't have a lot of really good options. And, it's gonna be a tough couple of years.
Yeah,
I love that you're like, this is not a job I would want to have. It's not a job. It's an unpaid position.
Exactly. Yeah. A responsibility.
Honestly, nominate everyone on that unpaid board as best of Portland. Like any unpaid board, especially when they're just like, by the way, here are like 5 to 20 years worth of issues piled up.
Right.
Fix, please. Just the correspondence alone for any of these things would bury me for a year, And I know Michelle DePass wanted to be on District 2 city councilors. Like, she wanted to be one of our reps. But hearing how little experience there is on the board, like, it's great they're all moms, but literally they're brand new, including our superintendent. She's like 2 years in. It's Michelle DePass who's just like, by the way, this is where the snacks are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's like, by the way, don't go to that Chipotle, go to this one. Yeah. So I'm kind of glad she's able to dedicate her time to the sport, because she might be really needed.
It's kind of like a highlight of the piece is, well, Michelle DePass is there. Is she going to carry us over not the finish line, but carry us.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of focus on the school board because they do have a pretty high level policy setting position. But I think back to before the election, Natalie Pate at OPB put out a pretty good article sort of talking about the school board and being like, look, here's like what they can do and what they can't. Like, they can cut things, they can cut programs, but they don't really have the opportunity to build that much because of the role.
It's almost like things are mismanaged. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good luck, school board. We salute you.
Seriously.
Good luck, y'all.
And the worst part is, like, they're not even part of that mismanagement. They're just like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Well, Brianna, thank you. Well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, more headlines of the week. Paint Care has 3 simple rules to help you paint smarter. 1, buy only what you need. Determining the right amount of paint for your next project can be tricky, but tips like measuring your space and asking your local paint store for advice will help ensure you have enough for your project while minimizing waste. 2, use up what you have. Look around your house and find simple DIY projects where you can use up your paint. Or you could give away your leftover paint to friends, neighbors, or community groups who could benefit from it. 3, recycle the rest at convenient locations like your neighborhood paint store. Paint Care even offers direct pickups for households and businesses with more than 100 gallons of leftover paint. Learn more or find a paint drop-off site near you at paintcare.org/3simplerules. I am so excited to tell you about the North Coast Express. That's the new seasonal transit option connecting Portland to the most iconic destinations on the Oregon North Coast. On top of just getting to sit back and relax since you're not driving, all buses include free Wi-Fi and charging ports, onboard restrooms, panoramic windows and reclining seats, wheelchair-accessible lifts, and you can grab the bus from Portland Fridays through Sunday through the end of August. There's flexible return day ticketing, which lets you choose between a spontaneous day trip or a longer coastal stay. For more information like tickets, schedules, and the full route, go to visittheoregoncoast.com/express. That's visittheoregoncoast.com/express.
This episode of CityCast is sponsored by Babbel. Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start that journey today? You can start speaking a new language with confidence thanks to Babbel's conversation-based technique that quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. Just one of the 12 languages you can learn with it, including Dutch, French, Italian, which is going to be next for me, Turkish, and Russian. I love the interactive dialogues that Babbel has, which allow me to practice what I've learned right away, and also the speech recognition function, which makes sure I'm getting the pronunciation just right, which honestly, usually I'm not. Also, I love that Babbel's lessons always cover actual things that I talk about in the real world, like food, talking to people I've just met, and also food. Staying motivated to learn a new language has never been easier thanks to real-time feedback, progress trackers, and handy visualizations in only 10 to 15 minutes a day on Babbel's mobile app or website. So get talking with Babbel. I want you to learn another language, so I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So my headline this week was prompted by an email from a listener, Costas N. They forwarded us a link to a story about a set of proposed new rules from the DLCD, which is the state's Department of Land Conservation and Development, that many small farms surrounding our city are saying are going to put them out of business. So I relied on reporting by Coin, K2, and press from the DLCD. So the state and supporters of these proposed new restrictions claim that the objective is to protect farmland by clarifying regulations and ensuring that this land is used for farming purposes. A big reason for this is because farmland in Oregon, and actually a lot of states, is taxed differently. So owners of farmland receive tax breaks and other subsidies by the government to encourage agricultural use. And these laws actually allow farmland to be assessed at a lower value than its market value, based on its agricultural use, meaning it's a lot cheaper to buy farmland than residential land. But the catch is, you got to use the land to farm, right? So now take a small farm like Topaz on Sauvie Island, who, by the way, are one of the most vocal opponents of these restrictions. And I'm pretty sure all of us have been to Topaz at some point.
Oh, yeah.
They have a pumpkin patch in the fall where they go all out and they have hay rides, corn mazes. They sell produce, but they also sell other products, including merch, food, and alcohol. In the summer, they have You Pick Berries. They put on now a very popular series of summer outdoor concerts where they're also selling merch, food, and alcohol. And they also have these delicious and elaborate farm-to-table dinners, which I've been to. They're amazing. And just in general, when they're not shut down for the winter, you can just go in and just hang out, buy some beer, some food, whatever, and just chill on their beautiful premises. And I find the experience they're selling really magical and feel really privileged that, like, Portlanders, we could drive 30 minutes and just have this to ourselves, you know? But small farms like Topaz how they make their money is that kind of stuff, these events, what they're selling, and it isn't always what they're growing on their farm. So these new restrictions are basically saying, hey, if you want to have an agri-tourism style farm, which is what they're calling it, like agriculture tourism, you need to start buying permits for the kind of business you're doing on your government subsidized property. If you're not really using all of it to grow crops, you also have to start conducting impact tests to how all of your like agricultural tourism is affecting your and the farmland around you. Otherwise, we're putting a cap on promotional events, the number of farm-to-table dinners you're putting on in a year. They're also floating the idea of restricting what they're able to sell on their farms without permits. So farms would no longer be able to sell products made from items they do not produce. So Topaz, let's say, could no longer sell honey or jam from a neighboring farm. I'm not sure about alcohol. I couldn't find it in the rules. I'm thinking that's a separate OLCC thing that like DLCD does not really monitor. But all this to say, many of these smaller farms like Topaz are like, yo, we're barely making ends meet. So bogging us down with restrictions, new hoops to jump through, and these costly permits and land assessments. That is going to be the death of the pumpkin patch and the summer concerts and the delicious farm-to-table dinners that you Portlanders love.
Yeah.
So before I go any further, like, why some neighboring farms and just neighbors of these farms are like good about these proposed new restrictions. What do you guys think?
I looked into it and I found this sentence in some of the reporting. Under the proposed changes, flower arranging classes, hay rides, and cow trains would be allowed without a permit. And I just love imagining the like bureaucrat sitting in an office being like, oh, but what about the cow trains? Like, did the cow trains go into this law or not?
And just so you know, it's not actual trains. I mean, it's not actual cows.
Or trains.
In a train. I just need people to understand, like, who are like, maybe just moved here. And they're like, I'm sorry. They're like, putting cows on tracks. They're not. It's just a train that kind of looks like a cow. It's silly. Whatever. Anyhow, what about you, Brianna?
You're like, thank you for that, John. Thank you.
Is this going to be like the end of Salvia Island? I feel like all of the farms on Salvia Island do this. And I'm not in my local Safeway buying apples fresh from Salvia Island. I'm not at New Seasons buying zucchini that came. You know what I mean? Like, what happens to Salvia Island if this passes? It's just insane.
Well, again, the DLCD, it keeps saying, hey, we're not saying they can't do any of this stuff. We're just saying they have to like apply for permits now and like make sure that they're not ruining their farmland and ruining the farmland around them. Mm-hmm. So
do the neighbors say, this is fucking at my land?
So yeah. So what's going on is like, if you think about it, when like the height of going to a pumpkin patch, how long is that line?
Oh my gosh. I mean, if
how long is that line? Now imagine you live in Salvia Island and you don't fucking have a farm. You're just a rich dude with farmland who likes to grow your little wine, who likes to hang out, doesn't want anyone on their land, doesn't want to have to fucking wait 2 hours to get to their farm.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you lost me at rich dude. So,
but I mean,
but I get it. Know? Yeah, for sure.
I mean, not to like diminish, it's still just like if you live in Salvia Island and when it's these seasons, you're kind of fucked. There's one way in and one way out.
Right. And it has been getting like exponentially gnarlier and gnarlier every single year. So much so now to the point where is Salvia Island full of farms or is Salvia Island full of places to go and party?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Everyone's selling alcohol. The roads there are so narrow and the embankments are so steep. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you notice, like every mile, they're like, please don't drink. It's just like, guys, stop drinking.
Please stop. Yeah.
Please stop. What the DLCD is saying is, it's one thing to have a concert or another event once in a while to promote your business. It's different when events become an integral part of your farm's business. Mm-hmm. In some of these situations, this is a quote here, the farms are becoming much more entertainment centers.
Yeah.
And they are. Like, we go there for entertainment. And they're basically saying, hey, we're just trying to keep the integrity of our valuable farmland. Like, we want to make sure. And also, we're getting a lot of complaints. Mm-hmm. So I can kind of see both sides, but it just sucks because it's such an integral part of being a Portlander.
Right.
In these seasons, like farm to table, could you imagine no longer having access to as many as we do? Or all these things. And I also believe Topaz when they're just like, this is the only way we can operate.
That part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Like, it just seems like such a tough place to be in.
Is Topaz would struggle without these events? Or like the cost of this permitting, is it going to wipe out the entertainment structure like completely, or is it like how much money are they making every year on their entertainment versus what they do farming? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
What they're saying, of course, I didn't ask for their tax.
Give me your hard numbers.
I'm just like, hi, I'm doing a 10-minute segment on this. Can you give me all of your financial receipts for the past 10 years? But at face value, what they're saying, they're just like, this is going to fucking wipe us out.
Right.
So I don't know if they're just saying that. They're like, we're going to be minorly inconvenienced financially. And it's not just topaz, of course. It's a lot of these agricultural tourism leaning farms are just like, dude, this is the only way we can grow this thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it is just sort of like a question of like rulemaking and the process of rulemaking, right? Because they tried to pass this in the legislature and it just didn't go anywhere. So now, the Land Conservation Development Department is trying to come up with these rules. And it's worth saying this is a first draft. And like people are just sort of like, oh, fuck, we hate this, And like already you're starting to see representatives from the organization starting to sort of be like, well, we didn't really mean it like that. There was some reporting in KGW that came out on Wednesday night saying that some of the things that are being proposed are already sort of being revised out of this draft. Like, not to get too far in the weeds, but there was an idea that like counties would have to verify the compliance of these farm stands every 7 years. And now they're saying like, well, actually, we're not going to do that. So hopefully with enough public outcry and people bitching about it on podcasts, it's going to bring enough attention to this that we can get to a set of policies that actually balances the needs of these farms that we love and want to thrive with the other issues at hand with permitting, with the neighbors, the impacts, et cetera. And it is interesting trying to set statewide policy where we are probably in like the most urban farm environment in the state, as opposed to like, I'm sure these laws hit very differently if you're out in like Eastern Oregon as well.
So. Oh, God.
When they're just like, no one's coming to my pumpkin patch.
Right.
Oh my God. Anyhow, thank you to our listeners because we got a lot of like, look into this,
Yeah.
And good luck to the lawmakers because as John is saying, this is still in the proposal phase. This isn't like law and they're still getting feedback. So hit up the DLCD if you have opinions, I mean, we should just end every segment with like,
Implied, yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more headlines of the week.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
All right, John. So you read up on Governor Kotek's new funding plan for ODOT since that huge transportation bill that was supposed to save a lot of jobs and services failed to pass.
Yeah. So a quick catch up previously on, oh my God, what is going on in Oregon politics, our favorite show. The legislature set out to pass a giant transportation bill this session, and it just didn't come to pass. So that means that like all of a sudden ODOT and like a bunch of regional transit agencies are like, shit, we were counting on that money. And it looks like there's going to be this huge budget shortfall to the tune of like $350 million. Lots of talk about layoffs. Well, the governor has now paused those layoffs until at least mid-September to hold a special session of the legislature to push through the transportation funding package once again. It's going to get underway on August 29th, and she just put out her idea for what is going to be in this new package that lawmakers are going to hopefully pass at the 11th hour. So some of the things that they're hoping to put through to like actually prevent these layoffs, to fund transit across the state, the biggie is an increase to the gas tax. Currently, it's about 40 cents per gallon. They want to raise that by 6 cents for each gallon of gas. They're also looking at creating a new annual fee on electric vehicles because electric vehicles don't use gas, and increases to the cost of car registration and titles and stuff like that. They're also thinking about doubling the payroll tax for transit from 0.1% to 0.2%. So yeah, we are still sort of looking over the edge of the transit funding cliff, but there is a chance that we're going to squeak it out. What do you guys think?
I was looking at the gas tax rates because I was curious. I was like, so what, like 46 cents, is that to me? Because I'm like, that's almost $50. And I'm thinking of just the people who really do rely, like who are going in there and are like, here's $3 to get me to work and what that's going to do for them. So I looked, and Alaska has an 8 to 9 cent per gallon. The most expensive being California, which was like 60 cents.
Yeah.
So 46 cents is like high, but it's not the worst in the States. But I do wonder if they keep incrementally pushing that up. I mean, I think what the hope is, it would push you to electric cars. But at this point, they're barely getting any money from electric cars. So I just feel like they need to start looking at how to find ways to get electric car payers to start paying for this stuff. Because they're using the roads. And $30, come on.
Yeah, I should say it's a $30 per year annual fee on electric vehicles.
I mean,
oh, come on. Fuck right off. Fuck right off. That's not even dinner for two at Applebee's. Get the fuck out of here.
It is less of an intense proposal than what had been on the table during the actual previous legislative session. The governor's saying that this is really set up just to maintain current service levels, which makes me think that stuff like expansions of the I-5 Rose Quarter project is just not even being discussed right now. And it's okay, we need to think about other methods of funding this. Remember, we just spent years talking about tolls on local roads. Everybody hated that idea too. So it's in the face of just doing nothing, which is where we left it at the end of June, I'm sort of the mind of let's just figure it out however we can.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, they just need to start really thinking about alternate funding streams. And if it's tolls, then we got to consider that. But then I just went to the Bay Area and God damn it. Oh my God. $8?
Get out.
But it does force people, to do other things.
Exactly.
I think that's what they're like, less cars, please.
Yeah. This was my takeaway from the article was I'm just not going to drive. Fuck it. Gas is already too fucking expensive. I have a bike. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, and it's worth mentioning that the challenge there is on the back of this, TriMet just announced a very deep series of cuts that they're considering to tons of bus service being cut, the Green Line being significantly cut because, of course, a funding package in the legislature, it rains down, it waterfalls into these local services that we need. PBOT was just talking about possibly laying off 50 workers and looking at new funding mechanisms as well. But every time that you come up with a new funding mechanism, of course, people fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's, you're just going to be taxing something that people are like, no, I don't like that.
Okay, I got it, John. Yeah. See, I feel like we're no longer land people. We fucked it. We're done. Let's go back to zip lines. I think you had, remember your zip line idea?
Zip lines and water slides, baby.
Zip lines, water slides, and a fucking ferry. Let's go.
Oh my God. When you started that, I was like, is she going to take us to the air or the water? And you did both.
I was thinking my new policy platform might be, let's stay home. No roads, no problem.
Hey.
Oh my God, John. Easy for us to say who work from home.
I know.
We're like, we could just stay home. I'm sure to the pleasure of many, but we could just stay home. I'm half joking about zip lines and water slides and ferries. I'm just like,
that means you're half serious?
Yeah, I love a ferry. Have you been on a ferry?
Oh, ferries are so fun. Ferries are the best.
Dude, ferries are the best. There's a bar at a ferry. Why? I don't know.
Because you're not driving.
Exactly. And I love it. Oh my God. Every time I go to any place with a fucking ferry, I'm just like, we're taking a ferry. You know what I mean? They're just like, ferry. I don't want to go to Bainbridge. I'm like, get on the fucking ferry. Anyhow.
Well, I hate to derail this to continue talking about.
Sorry, go on.
I continue talking about policy issues. But this special session is getting underway on the 29th of August. It looks like if we can peel away a couple Republican votes, we'll have a quorum to be able to pass this. Specifically, Kevin Mannix, a Republican from Salem, has been sort of indicating that he'd be interested in voting in favor of a transportation package. So we'll see. And of course, like those cuts that I mentioned at TriMet are sort of contingent on what happens here, right? So like depending on what we pass and whether we're able to pass it, the cuts to public transit in Portland and everywhere in the state could be larger or smaller. But yeah, the clock is ticking, and in a month and a half's time, we'll have a much better sense of what it's going to look like.
Mm.
And ferries and water slides, hey, zip lines,
yes.
trampolines, catapults, and teleporters.
Oh, catapults.
Catapults? Oh,
Do you imagine the long,
Get into
just
it.
the long period of just getting that catapult right? Sorry. We're like, no, a little more to the left. We have some shout outs before we head out. I know, John, you have some shout outs to share.
Yeah, I can kick it off. These are from our Portland Neighbors program. Members of the show get to shout out a local business or organization that they love. This one's from Callie S., who wants to shout out Siam Umami, which might be the only restaurant in Portland with a perfect 5-star Google rating, featuring rare royal Thai cuisine and unique creations you won't find at any other Thai restaurant, which I've never been, but that sounds delicious.
Okay. Brian W. wants to shout out the Oregon Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts that provides educational programming, legal advice, and resources to empower Oregon's creative and artistic communities to create fearlessly. And that was an exclamation point.
Nice. And I've got one more from Laura S., who wants to shout out. This one's over by you, Claudia, the St. John's Boosters. They're a business association that works on local improvement projects, advocates for business interests, and manages community resources like the St. John's Plaza and Gateway signage.
Cool. And you too can send us some shout outs of places you love. You just have to become a Portland neighbor. Join at membership.citycast.fm. And it's just, I don't know, it's a pretty cool club. John,
Yeah,
don't you think?
It's a pretty cool club. Cool club. I like it. I like the club.
Nice, dude. Great. Love it. Love that fucking club. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us, for going through these headlines with us. Oh, wait. Brianna, you have a shout out.
I have a shout out too. Thank you very much. I would like to shout out Pickathon, which is happening next weekend at Pendarvis Farm in Oregon City. And I will be performing on the literary stage. I will be reading from my debut memoir, and which is extraordinarily timely. But yeah, come see me at Pickathon on the Lit stage. I'll be there Sunday, August 3rd.
Well, you guys, thanks again for hanging out with me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if you don't, I swear to God, just get on a ferry. Like, do it. Do it today. Your life will fucking change, I promise you.
Thanks, Claudia.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. Our podcast production team this week was John Notarianni, Julia Fiaioni, Francisco Kilgore, and myself. Our Hey Portland newsletter team was Rachel Monahan, Adrian Gonzalez, Elizabeth Kama, and Natalie Rivera. Our host is me, Claudia Meza. Original music by Jenny Conley and Steven Drizos. Additional music by All the Kimonos, as well as Sarah the Instrumentalist, Timothy Infinite, and Gregory David, courtesy of Epidemic Sound. We'll be back Monday morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.